Hey, Ticats fans, it's your digital host, Louie B, and I'm very pleased to be joined by CHCH's Bubba O'Neil. And Bubba, truly, truly great to see you, my friend. How you doing?
And fantastic. And, before we really get going, I certainly have to say a certain thank you to so many people in Tiger Town, so many people in the Tiger Cats organization that contacted me. I've gotten back to as many as I've tried to over this little time since I've been back. Kind of a tough time for me for a little bit there. COVID's no joke, folks. And you know what? Glad to be back. Glad to be talking about football. Glad that we're all getting back to what used to be somewhat normal. I mean, I guess things will be somewhat different for a little bit, but we can see it. We can almost see it, and we're getting to the end of the tunnel in terms of this virus. And again, thank you so much to the organization, and again, so many people in Tiger Town that gave me that little push that I needed to get back to proper health.
Well said. Well, it's always great to see you back on the desk, and of course, CHCH, #1 destination for sports in Hamilton. It speaks for itself. You and Jay Dunk, of course, do such a great job covering this team, and I know Jay Dunk's been on top of this. Justin's been on top of this negotiations and the play. We can all move on from that, right? There is a game circled on the calendar. It's August 5th. What does that mean to you after everything we've been through?
Well, it's funny that you say that because, Justin Dunk is so much of a CFL insider, one of the tops, if not the top in the country. And he's been really focused on that stuff where I have taken the attitude, and I really meant this, and I don't mean this sarcastically, but I really do mean it. And I think a lot of fans felt this way is, call me when you're ready to play football. And we're ready to play football. So that is such an exuberating feeling. The fact that there will be a 14-game season. The fact that the Grey Cup is in Hamilton this year. And even better, the fact that the Hamilton Tiger Cats are going to be a contending team to represent the East in the Grey Cup this year. So I think there's a lot of excitement. I think that's going to brew once we get more details about the season. I know I'm excited. It's been so much talk about virus. It's been talks about things going on with the PA and stuff behind the scenes. But at the end of the day, people want action on the football field, right? I mean, in essence, we want to talk about the controversies. We want to talk about the wins and losses. And to me, that's what has me really excited.
I was just about to say, what are you most excited about, when it comes to this Ticats team? The fact that they're a contender, the fact that they have 2 #1 quarterbacks, the fact that they have one of the most, feared receiving cores in the CFL, the defense with Mark Washington coming back and key pieces coming back and their motivation. I mean, what are you most excited about when you look at this Ticats team heading into August 5th?
2 things, Louis, that really stand out in my mind, and we can't avoid it, right? We're looking at a Tiger Cat team that have 2 #1 quarterbacks, right? They've both proven it. One has proven it for a longer time than the other, but you look at this team right now, and there's going to be a really, I think, friendly, but I think a very competitive battle for the quarterbacking position. And this is going to be a very difficult selection for the coaches because there are not the 2 preseason games to evaluate how these guys start off. There's no preseason games as we approach this 14-game schedule that starts in early August. So what I'm thinking is that what we see, and this is not only for the quarterback position, what we see in early August may not be what we see Labor Day, October, and November. Things may change. But I think the central position is obviously the Dane Evans versus Jeremiah Masoli battle. I think something that also really gets to me is my last memory of the Tiger Cats was in Calgary, in a locker room, which was one of the toughest assignments I have ever had. 3.5 hours prior, I was preparing in my head questions about how good does it feel to be a Grey Cup champion. And yet I saw 3.5 hours later, players with tears in their eyes, media members that were in shock from all across the country because everyone thought the Tiger Cats were going to win the Grey Cup in 2019, but they did not. So what I want to see is, even though it's been so long, how much, because there's still a lot of returning players, will that bad feeling translate into a real quick start with the Tiger Cats playing their first 3 games on the road? Because they need to get off to that quick start. 14-game season, every win or loss means something.
When you look at this, when you look at the Ticats and this layoff from the game, how intense do you think that first week of training camp is going to be for coaches to really dial in and say, okay, well, these guys cared. These guys were focused. They put in the work. away from football. You know, like this isn't the time to be coming into camp and using the first week of camp as getting football ready. Like, if anything, you should be football ready day one, you know, week one of training camp.
And really, how do these bodies adapt? Because now we're going to be looking at injury situations as well, right? Like, I'm sure these players are professional. I'm sure that especially during the last 6 months or so, they've been working hard to stay in shape, but it's not football shape. We've talked about this several times before the beginning of any season. You're not in football shape. You haven't learned the nuances totally of maybe each quarterback, maybe the nuances on defenses, the little changes that are going to happen. So I think you're going to see a lot of experienced players come out of the gate doing well. But again, bodies are different. Players are maybe a year to 2 years older than they were than when we last saw them. Brandon Banks is coming off an injury that knocked him out of the Grey Cup. I mean, and he had the best season of any CFL receiver we've seen in years. So the adaptation of how we see, as you said, in the beginning of the season is going to be critical for so many factors. And again, it's not just for the Tiger Cats, it's for everyone across the league.
Let's talk about what this means for the city of Hamilton, because we're going to go into Labor Day Classic as a home opener, and we all know Labor Day Classic is such a date circled on everybody's calendar here in the city. Then we're going to have the Thanksgiving Classic, played against the Argos again, and then December 12th, 2021. We all hope that the Ticats will be the East's representation at the Grey Cup. But I mean, for the city of Hamilton, coming out of a pandemic, to have these events, and they are events, especially Grey Cup week, what is that going to mean for this city and really the businesses who are going to rely on the sport around the Stipley and across the city for Grey Cup week?
You know, here in the Golden Horseshoe, we have been privy to so many outstanding sports leagues. I'm looking at university football. I'm looking at the leagues, the several leagues we have in minor hockey, the Ontario Hockey League, lacrosse, baseball. I could go on and on, Louie. But who are we hiding here? The Tiger Cats are the chief franchise, Forge FC, who are two-time champions. With all due respect to all of those teams, and there are going to be fan bases that can't wait to get to see those individual teams and see them play. But none of them put in 25,000 people at the donut box, right? And again, with the Tiger Cats being a contending team, at least what we remember of them, the anticipation for this city to come out and see this football team on Labor Day is going to be epic. I think it's going to be something special. We would have seen the team play on TSN for 3 games. Hopefully they're 3-0. And the anticipation of seeing this team against the Argonauts on Labor Day Monday. Hey, and I won't hide this fact. I mean, there's a lot of people in the CFL that are talking about the Argonauts being a real good team this year. I mean, they've really, really revamped their roster, front office. They're pretty pumped up and think they have a quality product that's going to compete for the East. So if that's the case, that makes it even more satisfying. The anticipation will be even more. I think you're talking about a community that is ready to blow up. And again, what I like about the schedule too, Louis, just quickly off, is that many years ago, there was the Labor Day Monday and then the rematch in Toronto. That's reinstalled. 4 opportunities to play those Argonauts. And sometimes I don't like the multiple games against the same team, but you know it. I know it. Tiger Cats, Argonauts, ooh, it gets boiling.
It's funny because I was talking to Matt Affnick about that. I was like, "Oh, is this kind of the year we rebuild that rivalry?" And he's, correct answer is that this rivalry is always going to be intense. It doesn't matter if the Ticats are 15-3. Doesn't matter if the Argos are 3-5. Like, really, this is it. But it does feel a little extra special, right? I mean, like the Battle of the QEW, 4 matchups. They're trying to reduce travel. Like, that's going to be a huge, and it is going to determine so much in the East Division because, like you said, it's a 14-game schedule. If 1 game is important, 4 games are certainly very important.
Absolutely. Hey, I remember covering Tiger Cats teams, in my early days at CHCH, where they were 3-15 outfits, right? But yet, to the fans, winning on Labor Day Monday was the season. Yeah. So you're talking about a team now that finished 15-3, in 2019. with the possibilities of that team. They could have been even better than 15-3. I mean, to be honest, like, there was a couple of games there that they could have.
We're talking about what a doink in was that in Edmonton in 2019?
Yeah.
We're talking about in BC. I think there's a game. I mean, we are talking about a very, very good Ticats team from 2019, right?
Absolutely, right? I mean, yeah, in Calgary, I forgot, yeah, the blocked field goal. Like, I mean, there's so much that could have happened. So I really, with the coaching staff that they have, the players that we already know that will make up the foundation of the team is, I think, the most solid in the league, right? Like, I mean, we don't know what will happen through those 14 games. But if you look at the roster right now of this club, they have the best foundation to do something special compared to anyone else in the league. And I'm talking about the West teams as well, too. And that's Saskatchewan, who I think have a real good team, and Calgary, who are, traditionally just always seemingly good.